Good morning, everyone, and welcome to my channel, Kindred Souls of Brooklyn. I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in today, and I really appreciate it. So, folks, today we're going to talk about all the wonderful Brooklyn carnivals that happened in the 70s and 80s over in Brooklyn in all these church parking lots. They were spectacular. I have a lot of good memories about them. Please stay tuned. We'll share some memories and some photographs of all those great, good old carnivals. Right off the bat, folks, I want to tell you that I wanted to pick a setting that's close to a carnival theme. So I'm here in Old Town in Celebration, Florida, actually right next to Celebration. It's in Kissimmee. So right off the bat, folks, my favorite carnival to go to in all of Brooklyn was my home parish, of course, Holy Name of Jesus Catholic School and Church, right in Park Slope, right between Prospect Park and Greenwood Cemetery. And folks, it was just a wonderful time. If you guys remember, there were so many nice memories of those things because first off, I think it was my favorite thing all year long. It was really cool because it was great because you had the anticipation. Because I went to school there, these carnivals, and I don't recall the name of the carnival, name of the place that used to set up, but it was the same place that used to come to all the carnival, all the parishes that wanted one in Brooklyn. And I think the parishes made a lot of money from these carnivals. But what I really liked about the carnival, just as much as going there, was, you know, it's all about the anticipation. So going to school there, maybe it was around maybe May or so, middle of May, end of May, and you'd walk up to school in the morning. I say up because I live between 10th and 11th Avenue, so I was going up the hill. Maybe for some people they were going down the hill or across, I don't know. But for me it was up the hill and my friends. Kind of sounds like those old things years ago, you know. You had to go like 3 miles up a hill and 3 miles up a hill back. Anyway, so we used to go to school in the morning and we see the carnival workers or folks building up the carnival. And it was great because you typically had a Ferris wheel, not as fancy as this one, but it was more one of those simple Ferris wheels. You had all the booths with all the games inside of them, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. And they would also have other things like the whip ride, and maybe they would have like a Vomitron type of thing. But it was very cool, and you'd see these things being built up as time goes on. In fact, folks, stay tuned to later in this video. I was very lucky last year, was before COVID actually, but I was in Staten Island and I had a chance to visit the carnival on Media Day, and they were very gracious. They let me walk around inside there and get to see the carnival being built up. It was actually mostly built up, but if you missed that kind of feel, I got to talk to a lot of people walking around. So stay tuned to this video later, a little bit later on. I'll put that footage onto it, so I think it's very enjoyable. I was never really a tremendous ride guy. I guess for me it was booths like this one that really got me excited. They had the wheels that spun around, and you had, I think it was like 48 numbers, and you had to put a quarter on the number, and the guy or woman would spin the wheel around and it would make that clickety 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 sound, and if it landed on your number you would win a prize. But obviously most of the time it landed on, you know, you had maybe like 6 sprockets on each number, but one of the sprockets had a red line on it, and if it landed on your number and it landed on the red sprocket, of course you got to pick anything in the booth. And what was really cool is that some of these booths were stuffed animal booths, other booths were electronic booths, other ones were toys. I think my favorite ones were the electronic booths. In fact, one time I put the number on 36 and it landed on the red, and they had this huge boombox in there. It was actually more like it was a stationary radio, but it was as big as a boombox. And I remember winning that. It was fantastic. It was kind of like, I don't know, maybe it goes back to, it's funny, I was thinking about this when I was going to do this video, and maybe it goes back to like primal things that we're hardwired for, you know. You had those things where like people are hardwired to be like hunter and gatherers, and, you know, if you went out for a successful hunt, you came back and your parents or your wife or whatever, and, you know, they, wow, look at what you got, holy cow. So I guess that was cause for motivation. And I guess also we were a little bit greedy too. I mean, we were kids. None of us had like $1 million. I mean, all my friends growing up were you know, we were all like lower middle class or middle class, and nobody had like a ton of money. So anytime you won something like that, it was really nice to bring it home and enjoy it. So, you know, a lot of times we had block parties. So in the case of the radio, we would bring it out for that. But it was really cool. Another thing that I really remember about the carnivals was that there was lots of gambling there. I mean, the adults had like a gambling thing usually downstairs where they could play 21, or they could play, I think it was like a form of craps that they used to play. But for the kids outside, I was looking back on it now, it was very surprising. I'll put a picture of this up. We had those pull-off tickets, and they had like the 4 or 5 cherries on them, and you could win like 20 to 50 bucks on them, and they would sell them to the kids. And I just thought, it was kind of weird that maybe that instilled gambling in a lot of us. I don't know, but I know for me, myself, I mean, thank God I never got heavy into gambling, but it was kind of like, when you watch these old movies like The Sting or maybe some of these casino movies, I remember it was kind of like the first time I really understood what it meant by, like, they call the word action. And not like in a motion picture, but they call like the whole essence of being in a casino, they call it the action. And for a lot of people, it isn't so much the winning or the losing, it's about just being involved in the moment, being involved in the action. And that's certainly how it was at those carnivals, because, at any time a fight could break out, at any time you could win something, you might see a friend that you hadn't seen for a while. Who knows? I mean, there was so many things that could just come up. In fact, I remember one night at Holy Name, there was a fight there, and I think this is what led to all of these carnivals not happening currently, is there was a fight there. Thank God no one passed away or anything, but it was a pretty big fight between a couple of kids. And I remember we were there, and like within 5 minutes, they had the entire carnival shut down. Mid-ride, they just turned off the ride. They told people to get off the ride. The cops were called. And that night, I think it was a Friday night, the carnival was actually canceled for that night. So it was just kind of one of the biggest bummers ever was how that felt. And but like I said, folks, it was really nice. And what I remember too, when I look back at this Ferris wheel behind me, I think about the sounds. When you think about a carnival, it's the sounds and the smells that I really used to love. I mean, I'm a big guy, I always like to eat, but I think back to one of my favorite sounds was the sound, I'd say, of the wheel that I told you about. And also it was the sound of those generators that made the Ferris wheels go, because, they weren't wide into like, it wasn't like a big theme park. They all had to have generators to make them go. And the generators made this particular sound. It was a loud, annoying sound, but it was a kind of sound that you kind of knew you were at the carnival, because, I mean, coming from Brooklyn, I'm sure other places had more uses for generators, but, we were always, pretty much other than the blackout of 1977, we always had power, so generators weren't something that we typically heard. So for me, it was always those sounds of the generators. Also, it was also the sounds of like the ice cream. They'd have the ice cream, the soft serve machines, and when they pulled the lever out, it would make that popping sound. It was just a lot of good memories. Folks, I mean, tell me if you guys have some great memories. I'd love you to share them with me. That's the great thing about the channel, is that we get to share all kinds of thoughts and ideas, and maybe some things that I forgot about the carnival. I'd really appreciate it. Now, like I was telling you folks, all of these carnivals, it was the same company that used to show up at all the churches. So you could pretty much go to maybe 5 or 6 carnivals in a year without really a sweat. Now for me, I used to go to the 2 carnivals. I used to go to, obviously, like I told you, Holy Name of Jesus. And then our next closest parish was Immaculate Heart of Mary. So obviously a big shout out to the alumni for both of those. Immaculate Heart of Mary is closed right now. But I used to enjoy going down to Immaculate Heart of Mary because, like Holy Name, they had a really big parking lot, and they could always do a nice carnival down there. In fact, it was at that carnival that I won the radio. I was with my dad, and it was really fantastic. So we really enjoyed going there and doing that. But yeah, folks, it was great. They stopped doing these carnivals because I think because all the Catholic churches, I believe, are insured by the same company. I think there was a couple of fights or situations that they probably decided it just wasn't worth it to have these carnivals. But from what I saw, I think they made a lot of money on them, because usually the people working it were volunteers. I know my parents volunteered one year to work it. My father loved going to Atlantic City. And in fact, back then, I don't even know if Atlantic City was even open at that point. But he used to love the whole thing of dice. And so he actually volunteered to work on the thing with the dice. And that was a lot of fun. I got to go and watch him do that, and got to learn the game for future reference going down to Atlantic City. So yeah, it was great, folks. It was really good times. And like I said, they stopped doing these carnivals. In fact, they used to also do a carnival at the Army base over in Fort Hamilton. And so I'm thinking this year, in the last couple of years, I think the only carnival that I saw in Brooklyn, like a church carnival, was St. Michael's, which is on 4th Avenue and about 36th Street. It's right near the McDonald's over there. And I believe they had a carnival in 2018, if memory serves correctly. But, and I think in Staten Island, there's a Greek church that's right across from the Mike's Diner, kind of before you go back on the highway after you leave the Staten Island Mall. But other than that, it was few and far in between, because I just think, like I said, the liability was just way too strong. But folks, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'd like to ask you if you want to subscribe, like, and share. That'd be really appreciated. My wife and I have started a foundation for my son, Matt, who we lost last August of 2019. And we call it the Waffles Foundation after Matt. His nickname was Waffles because he picked it up in high school. My son Matt was he was a fantastic guitar player. You could go onto my web page. It's www.wafflesfoundation.org. And if you'd like to donate, you could do so. Actually, hold off on the donation. Today is September 4th. We're waiting to get our official 501(c) status. Once we do that, you guys could donate. The mission, of course, is suicide prevention, because in the United States, we lose somebody every 40 seconds. And we're also going to be donating on the musical side of it. We're going to be donating musical instruments to anybody who wants to play, particularly kids. And our slogan is saving lives through music, one note at a time. So we're going to marry the kids with musical instruments and lessons. And hopefully we're going to help start the next Jimi Hendrix, or the next, who knows, maybe the next Bono. I mean, who knows? So it would be kind of nice if that person one day would come back and maybe do a concert for the foundation. But folks, I really appreciate you tuning in. I appreciate it very, very much. This is Al signing off from sunny Florida, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care of yourself. Bye-bye, folks. Hey guys. Right now.
That right there holding that up.
Yeah, right. Dragon roller coaster. Wow, that looks great. Folks, if you've never seen this is, we call this one Soap the Bloke, but it's basically the clown inside the water cage. And this is the most hysterical thing at the carnival, if you haven't seen it. Basically, some guy goes in there dressed as a clown or a bozo, and he makes fun of everybody, and he tries to knock them into the water. Amazing. Hi. That's a good one too. The Pharaoh's Fury. Really amazing. Funnel cakes, oh my God. My favorite attraction. And here it looks like we have a haunted house. Pretty amazing. Yeah, a haunted house. Hi, how are you? You guys have a great show. Where are you from?
We're from Tampa.
Nice, beautiful. Yes. Tampa. Love Tampa.
Oh, it is. Florida
so
is beautiful.
Nice. Sorry it's so cold up here. It's usually a little warmer.
Actually, warmer than it usually is when we come.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
We've had a couple of warm days actually compared to the past couple of years.
I hope it warms up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this is just for a YouTube channel, and I want to wish you guys a wonderful show.
Thank you.
The manager's nice to let me walk around and film, and
yeah, you're right. It's a beautiful show. They got a lot of stuff out here this year.
Definitely be back.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
We'll be here.
Enjoy. It smells great. Fried Oreos. Oh my God. Incredible. Amazing. All right. folks, that's the whole 360 tour of the carnival. And once again, I'd like to say thank you to all the folks who work here, and I appreciate the early access. Come on out, it's a lot of fun. I think the weather's going to get a little better. And everybody have a great day, and we'll see you real soon.